Only because I can't see.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Somers Town Board Work Session, starting here at 7:06 on Thursday, September 5th, 2024. We're going to start off with public comment. Make the motion to open up public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody here for public comment? Come on up.
How are you, Mark?
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, Ms. Town Clerk. I won't be long. I'm here to talk about the energy consortium, the electricity buying consortium. I'm not 100% sure of the details, so please correct me if I'm wrong. In fact, you're voting about, I gathered, about, I'm not sure if it's joining or rejoining the consortium. And the way I understand it is that all the other towns but Somers have joined. By joining, you don't lose anything. You only gain because that gives you a choice of whether you want renewable energy or not. If the town does not join, the way I understand it, we do not have the choice. And it just seems simple to me that since it's not costing the town anything, it's not costing us anything, it's giving us a choice about whether we want to choose renewable energy. And I said, from my understanding, it sounds like something we should do. Just personally, I've been very happy that the town has joined the other Northern Westchester towns to enter purchase agreements to get a cheaper rate than NYSEG. I have been part of that for many years, and I do appreciate that. I also, and I don't think this is affected, I also, I'm in the Westchester, I think it's Sustainable Westchester Solar Power Farm, which a lot of people don't know about. They've got a farm upstate, I think in Olean, and you can buy a theoretical share of it. So your energy comes from that source, and whatever you buy from that source, you get a 10% rebate on your bill, and they let you know every year, every month. It's not a huge amount sometimes by the month, but over, I don't know how many years, it's not that many. According to them, I have saved, I think $500 or $600. So I would recommend that to everybody. Just one final thing. The amount may not seem like a lot, especially since we have such energy efficient appliances and lights. I've even gotten into the habit of leaving lights on after growing up with my father saying, turn the lights off the minute you leave the room. But some of us have electric houses, electric heat, including me and my two neighbors. And I think most or all of Heritage has, or at least some, have electric heat. And then it really starts adding up. So that's really all I want to say, is that I would urge you to vote in favor of, again, if I've got it right, joining the consortium so we can have the choice about renewable energy, because a lot of people do want to cut down on emissions and hope for a cooler planet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment? No? Okay. Then I'll make the motion to close out public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So move. All right, now to the topics here for town board. Give a town board update. I just want to take this moment to remind all of our Somers residents that election season is in full swing. Our mailboxes are full of campaign mailers. TV is filled with wall-to-wall political ads, and there are signs all over New York State. The entire campaign process is predicated upon our First Amendment right to free speech. This doesn't mean that we must all agree, but it does mean that we all must respect the rights of our neighbors, friends, to say what they wish and to support whomever they support. Somers is a kind, diverse, welcoming town. I look forward to enjoying the great American tradition of free and fair elections and a spirited, respectful exchange of ideas during the campaign leading up to November 5th. I encourage all my fellow Tuskers to continue to be the very best of Americans and set an example for Westchester by participating in vigorous, lively, civil discourse. And as a reminder, early in-person voting begins right here at the Townhouse on Saturday, October 26th.
Well said. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay, brings us up to number 2 here. Sustainable Westchester, Community Choice Aggregation Energy Supply Program. We're here to have an update. I know, Dan, you just, you came here. If you want to, I'll give you, normally you would call my office and ask to speak, say a few words, but since you're here and if you want to say a few things regarding it, that'd be great.
And Mr. Supervisor, I will be myself since I'm an employee of NICEAG.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure, and I appreciate you giving me some time. And yes, we didn't follow a sort of regular procedure with this. We noticed that it was on your agenda, and I thought I'd show up in case you had some questions for me. But maybe it would be helpful to just sort of give the quick 1.5 minute overview for folks and fill in some of the gaps that the gentleman most helpfully started to talk about. The program is a municipal aggregate buying program. It is the main purpose is to try and increase the amount of renewable energy that we are purchasing, that we're using. And of course, Sustainable Westchester, as an intermunicipal nonprofit whose mission is to do just things like that, is obviously oriented in that direction and is promoting that. But we also know that there's many factors out there in terms of municipal decisions, but we want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make these decisions. The program's been running since 2016 and went through, I don't know how many iterations of contracts by now, and some of those contracts have done well sort of economically, and some have not done so well because we operate on a fixed price basis where we go out for bids, we lock in, and then that contract goes for a year or 2 years, and that's the rate. But meanwhile, the utility rates do whatever they're going to do because they're basically running with the market. And when you go out to bid, the suppliers are going out into the futures market and they're hedging and they're locking in. But whether or not the world actually looks like that in the next month is not to be known for certain. So in this last contract has not performed well financially, but we still feel it's been a tremendous benefit in terms of driving the amount of renewable energy out there. We've mitigated some 330,000 plus tons of carbon dioxide last year. That's and of course nobody knows what a ton of carbon dioxide is. So it's equivalent to taking 70,000 plus cars off of the road for that same year. So it's very impactful. The urgency for making this transition gets more and more apparent as we go by. The storms, the heat waves, the forest fires, they're all there, and it's really not something that we can just wait for the state to come up with a magic solution. So that's why the coming together of all the municipalities to build programs like these, or like the other ones that the gentleman talked about, the community solar and some of the municipal energy work for homes is so critical. So we are coming up on a new contract. Again, these contracts you lock in for a certain period, and as the end, we go out for bids, we make an award, and then people who are enrolled in the contract or who are eligible, as say they just moved in and they're eligible to be in, they'll get a letter which will tell them what the rates are and the term for the next contract, and it'll give them all the information they need. If this looks good to you, you want to stay in, you don't have to do anything. But in order to come out of that, you do have to raise your hand, call us on the phone, or go on the web. There's a simple form to fill out, or there's a card you can drop in the mail, whatever. You have to raise your hand to come out and pop back to utility service if that's your desire. But you have all the options you ever had when the municipality is running this kind of a program. You can go back to the utility. You can go out and look for your own ESCO if you think you can do better than what the program is doing. But it is, as was said, one option that wouldn't be there if you're not a part of the program. And at least it's a vetted option. It's not going to be this, financial home run. I'm going to Europe on the savings next year necessarily, but it's safer in many instances than when you go out for yourself to a private ESCOs, because we still to this day get phone calls from people who are like, okay, you're seeing a high bill. Who's on your bill? And they name some other ESCO and they say, I'm paying 27 cents a kilowatt hour. And they're like, oh, that's not good. So that happens. And there's also, of course, very fine ESCOs out there that they're out there to do business the right way. But you as an individual have to sort through all that. And
So you're getting calls on people whose ESCO is,
Yes.
call it a sham or a flim flam,
because often they may have signed up
and it has nothing to do with
to
it.
go, right? And then they hear about this program and they haven't paid attention to their power bill in like 2 years or something. They hear about this program and then they assume that something's going on. And then that's when they take a look at their bill and they say, what's going on? They call us because, it's not easy. It's not for the mere mortals to be able to sort through what's on the bill.
So I'm,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, Dan, just to sort of like redirect some of the comments that were made in
Yeah.
public, there are a couple of towns that don't, are not signed up for this, right? Lewisboro and Mount Kisco, is that
Lewisboro, Mount Kisco,
Kisco, right?
that's correct.
Right.
Yes.
And some others have actually reduced the full renewable energy choice to the half.
Yes, North Salem have opted to go with the 50% product, so they're trying to balance things. They want to be sensitive to the rates pressures, and they also don't want to lose all their momentum in terms of what they're doing as a municipality to help with this problem.
And so one of the other comments was it doesn't cost more, but it's more expensive to go to this option.
Yes, I think in this case, I have to correct that. We were doing better up until this last contract, if you want to say it like for the length of the contract. But this one has been tough. We've been behind, 4 or 5 cents in various months. And so that average has gone away and we're behind and people are paying more on average to be in the program. It's also a function of the renewable energy market to some extent, right? Because these programs are growing, the demand for energy has gone up. And so the renewable energy certificates that we buy in order to buy that component of the energy has gone from, in the very beginning, we were like at 0.6 cents, a little more than half a cent, up to 1.2 cents and 1.8. At one point, it was up to 2.7. The state then released a new sort of category of these renewable energy certificates onto the market, and it brought it down so that now we're at about 2.1 cent per kilowatt hour for the renewable component on that. So that's been a factor as well.
But not to be confused that you're at 11 cents is the new contract.
That's right.
12 cents, right?
The 50% renewable product is 11, what do I say, 11.5 or something like that? 11.6?
11.595
Yeah,
cents per kilowatt.
yeah, right. And that's, as I say, it's the default that North Salem and Pound Ridge have gone for. There is no standard product this year.
Why is that?
The state decided in their wisdom to issue a regulation which said that if you are going to offer a standard non-renewable product, you can only do so if your price is no more than 5% over the trailing 12-month average of the utility. So there's very few situations where a supplier is going to be able to hit that in this market today. And we've told the DPS that, the principle and the purpose sounds good, but if you are coming out of a low price market and you're expecting the price to go up, you're not going to beat the trailing average, you know? So anyway, they kind of put a very tough constraint around that so that it'd be very,
Almost knocked you out of that market.
yeah.
The trailing rate is about what, just to frame this out, it's in
Yeah.
5, 6, 7.
With that, it's closer to 8 cents. Was it 7, 8 or something like that?
Okay.
And
So the spread is like, 3 or 4 cents more
Yeah.
expensive.
yeah,
for
for
this new contract.
this 50% renewable. That's right. As it, that compared to that trailing average. Of course, the other thing about the trailing average is it has no relation to what the future is, because we don't know what the future will be. That's another point that we made to the DPS. We said, in order to have a comparison that's valid, okay, we'll post the 12-month average, but we should post that against our 12-month average, so it's for the same period, and it's a valid comparison. But anyway, they're requiring us to post that average and use that as
Is that just this year or that will be in the future?
it's a couple of years they've been doing that. So
Oh,
so
so you expect it to stay?
that regulation is likely to stay for now.
Does that come out of NYSERDA or
It's a
our authority?
the Public Service Commission,
Public service.
a modification to the CCA orders and the regulations that flow from those.
Is this program has been, the original thought was it would be copied in other counties in the state. Has that happened?
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's, I don't know the exact number, but it's always over 100 communities throughout New York State, and something like, it's well over 200,000. No, it'd be more than that, 100 communities. I don't have the numbers in my head.
Does it have to go county by county?
It's municipality, it's the authority to participate in one of these aggregations devolves to the lowest tax assessing authority. So it'd be, if you're, a village in the middle of a town, it's the village for one, and then it'd be the unincorporated section of the town if there is any left.
Oh, I see.
So the counties actually don't have the authority
Right.
to set one up.
They're organized by county.
Yeah,
but-
and well, the county could act, for example, in an organizing fashion, almost like Sustainable Westchester if they wanted.
Right.
They couldn't aggregate all the customers in the county as one
Right.
aggregation. I think that was done on purpose so that we would have meetings like this to discuss this and be closer to the public in making those decisions, rather than one big
Let
group.
me ask you this question. So a municipality elects to go into the 50-50, right? What happens next? Do the residents get a card in the mail and say that your municipality has chosen the 50-50 rate, X, Y, and Z? If you want to be in it, you're in it at this. If you don't want to be in it, do A, B, and C.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So the, if, we have a nominal start date, in this case, it's November 1st. That means that customers would start that rate on their first meter read date on or after November 1st. Meter read date is the 7th, and you start then.
Can they elect to be out of it before that
Yes.
November?
So they will get the letter at the beginning of October. And our start date is December 1st. So they get the letter at the beginning of October. There's a 30-day opt-out period, during which time, if you opt out, you'll never enroll in the new contract. You can opt out anytime after that, but you may have already enrolled and you'd be in and unenrolling. So, but they will get the letter before, with plenty of time to make any decision.
How many opt-outs have you gotten since this last contract's been in place? I mean, the rates have been, the spread's gotten huge, but, the public
Yeah.
doesn't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, we had an uptick. I couldn't give you the number. It's not.
It's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot. I want to say, our rolls were hovering probably about between the 5 towns, something like 7,500 to high 7,000s, and they've drifted down to, maybe they're like 71, 72, and every month is different because just depending on read rates, and then there's move outs and move in, so it's hard to sort of say that's the number.
So you
But
could, though,
right.
in essence, right, during that 30-day window, opt out, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But say 3 or 4 or 5 months down the road, things change somehow, you can opt back, you can opt back in if you like.
Yes, absolutely. And in and out. Of course, you can't treat it like day trading because it does.
Because there's a third, yeah, there's
Yeah, there's time. It takes time for this to come through. But or, you know, not that I should be giving recommendations to people, but since the winter rates tend to be higher, you know, another strategy could be like, I'll come in as this contract enters, have myself a little, you know, guarantee of what's going to happen in winter. And if it looks like it's dropping off, I'll pop out, you know, start at spring when we hit all the shoulder months and it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
It kind of,
I think a lot of the concern is that we do have a senior population here in town, right?
absolutely.
And Heritage Hills, where there's a lot of electric heat up there.
Yes, for sure.
And them not being, you know,
Saturday.
savvy enough and they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they're living from, you know, whatever, you know, whatever.
Fixed income,
are.
whatever it be.
And
Yeah.
then they, you know, we get
Yeah.
inundated with a ton of phone calls about how my electricity prices are through the roof, you know, what's going on. And then we spend a lot of time and energy to try to explain it to them about what's going on.
Yep.
You know, and I was just hoping that you know, I like that, but do you follow up with them going forward every 3 months and say, hey, here's another flyer, you're still into this program, you're not in this program, you know, the more information, the more transparent that you can be to give people, you know,
Yeah.
literature and the reading material so they can be educated on it. So, because we're, you know, when we sit here at the table, we sit there and try to do, okay, we look at all those things, right? We look at all those different factors. Yes, we want to be conscious of the environment. We want to be conscious of what is going on, and
course.
but we also have to be conscious of people's wallets and what is going on as well.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of those phone calls saying, "Why is my prices so high?" And then, and they usually only blame one person. They blame you know, the provider that they have in that area, Con Ed or NYSEG.
Yeah.
That's where the most of the blame comes from.
I mean, I've been up at Heritage Hills. I've taken and listened to a lot of complaints. You've been up there.
Oh, right.
Even with all the outreach that you do, people are not informed. I mean, nobody really studies their electric bill. I mean, I understand it, and you try to explain it. Having the option to opt out is really not exercised, although it's available. I mean, so when we do this, we're signing everybody up, and there's not going to be much of a reluctance to, you know, to sort of back out. And we don't sit there and promote. I'm not in a job. I don't want to be in a position where I'm forecasting anything. I mean, I look at this right now,
No, that's right. We're not.
and it was originally
past.
conceived as getting more value for aggregating your purchases, but we really haven't really achieved that. I mean, it hasn't been bad in the past. We had some rate stability, but recently the spread is very expensive. 4 cents, that's $50 to $100 a month based on what someone might use. That's real money. And we're getting, and you know, bills are coming in at 380, 390. Mine was 380. I took a call today, just unsolicited, you know, expensive, you know, at this level. And we're seeing it on Facebook. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to, they don't know how to, they don't know what their options are. Tell them to call NYSEG. But you got to explain to them to opt out.
If they want to opt out, they should call us. It's probably
I know,
easier
don't know.
to do that.
Well, we had talked to when Noam Bramson was here. My first question is, what's the average kilowatt use of a home typically in North Salem, Lewisboro?
Yeah, I think Anthony had,
About 1,000, right?
yeah, 1,000,
1,000.
1,100, something like that. Yeah.
So
4 cents is 40.
So every
a
penny
month.
is $10. Let's call it that, right? Every penny.
Right, it's $10. So
Yeah.
4 cents is 40.
Yeah.
And if I used 1,800 to 2,000, and I don't have a huge house, but I had an air conditioner going and a dehumidifier, and you know, some drop. You know, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So,
that throws some of those people out. You gotta,
well, what happened?
they're all living
But-
off of you.
But up in Heritage Hills
Yeah.
during the
Well,
winter,
the good news is like we've been to Heritage Hills many, many times, and we were there when the rates went skyrocketing and they came running over and we enrolled them all. Then when the rates went back down, we came and we offloaded them all, you know, and we go to the men's club in front of them and, you know, are happy to, you know, increase the amount of engagement we do with those.
When Noam Bremson was here, my original point, we talked about making everything transparent. And there were some ideas. I don't know if he brought them back to the whatever he got, the board, the office. You know, one is maybe an app that is up to date and gives you all that information right on your phone. Everything today is an app. And maybe right there you can opt out, as you say, so that everything is as easy as possible.
Mhm.
Also talked about periodic postcards to people to make sure that they keep up on that. Obviously, every time you mail something, there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
So how do we limit that cost so it's not just more cost on the program? But I think there are some things, and maybe automated calls, you know, which don't cost very much. People, here's what's happening this month. Here's what you should do if you don't like it. There are some things
Mhm.
that can be done, you know, to sort of keep that transparency almost to a daily way, which is how you keep support for any program.
Yeah, I don't know if now Heritage Hills has their own, is a private establishment with their own water system, right? They have water bills that go out that this could be included in those.
They could arrange it. It is a private system.
Yeah, yeah. But we're willing to look at all those things.
Yeah, I think you should
Channels
consider it.
are considered, and we are intending to up the volume and the flow of these things. It's not likely to include a mailing every 3 months. That we just don't have the funds.
No, I understand that, right?
Yeah.
Outreach is so important.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And to keep the residents abreast about what is going on. You know, because it usually takes people a few months of bills to be like, yeah, they could look back at the bill this month and like Anthony did and say, all right, well, my air conditioner was running, right? It was in the 90s. I get it, right?
Right.
But if you look at it comparative to, you know, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, we weren't paying anywhere in the 300s. You know, you were paying the 180s, 160s.
Mhm.
And that becomes real money in this day and age, especially in the economy that we're in and how we're trending. I just think that, you know, it's hard for us, you know, a lot of times to take a look at this. A decision that should be pretty easy, it becomes more of a, you know, an exercise in for us up here. And I get what, you know, I think, yeah, that people, if they want to spend the 50/50 and they want to be in that and they want to pay, you know, 4 and change or so per month, great, right? I mean, that's your own, that's your money. You do what you want with your money. But there's a lot of people out there that who don't understand it, and they don't understand what is going on, and it becomes I think that the most important thing is to get the word out there and to make sure that people do understand it and point them in the right spot to say, hey, listen, call us on the phone. We can take you out of it if you know, we choose to go that way. But it usually takes a couple months before people start to realize what is going on.
Yeah, no, we couldn't agree more that we want to get out there in front of everybody and make sure that they know their options. And we're happy to, whatever medium is most effective in Somers, or, you know, it would be the online, you know, the Daily Voice or the Patch or wherever we can find people's eyeballs, or physically, you know, stopping in a coffee shop and saying, we have office hours here, if people want to drop in, or, you know, be very creative about this.
But Dan, if the town does not partake, then as Mr. Capel said, he doesn't have any options. He can't opt in at 50% renewable. He can't opt in at 100% renewable. He has no ability in that. Am I correct or wrong?
That's right, because it's a municipal authority that allows the establishment of this kind of program. So
The municipality can't opt in or the individual can't opt in? Because I thought you said earlier that the individual does have the option to join their own ESCO.
Their own.
oh, their own ESCO. Yes, absolutely correct.
So there-
Just not yours,
That's right.
That one.
There is an
Okay.
option.
but they have that option to join an ESCO.
Yes.
But it'd
As they-
be their responsibility to do all the research on the ESCO to make sure that the ESCO that they're going into is the right fit for them.
That's right. That's right.
And those people who call you, I'm sure they have stories about how not all of them, as you say, are the most reputable. Obviously, there's some who are, but like anything, there's some who aren't.
Right.
You have to do your own vetting, as I think the
That,
supervisors.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, schedule wise, the nominal start is December 1st for this particular contract. Those letters would go out in October. Right now, if Somers was to decide, hey, we want to keep the program going, keep that option out there. I checked in with the supplier. We would have to get there okay because there's been a couple of weeks passed since the actual bidding was done and but he seems to think we're probably all right, but we'd have to, they would have to give the nod, yes. And then if we got the signature on the contract, they could you in the supply and the processes that going forward with the letters and all that.
But am I correct that I believe I was told that, so the sort of deadline was in August, you could extend it up at the beginning of September, but not after today to, let's say, next week, and certainly not to next month.
Yeah,
Correct on that?
the
The dead.
letters are going out in the beginning of October. We need about 10 days at the printer to prep the printing, get the data together and all that. So you're talking the, last week in September that should happen. We also have to submit a municipal filing to the Department of Public Service. It's just a form. It says these guys are in, here's the copy of the contract and everything. We've done that for everybody else. We don't know exactly how they won't commit to how long it takes for them to come back and say, you're good, that filing was compliant. So we need to leave a week or 10 days for that. So we're kind of like, you kind of have to make the decision now to have some faith that we were going to hit all those deadlines. If it went beyond that, the only issue that we see and I don't know that there's a hard answer to this, but the DPS, the Department of Public Service, if the program is discontinued, they want you to, if you want to restart, they want you to approach it as if it's a new aggregation. Even though you guys have been doing it for 8 years, we would have to go through 2 or 3 months of outreach, and then
Ah.
you'd have to submit all the documentation for that, then do all the sort of the opt-out stuff and all that. So there could be, even if you decided like a month later, we might end up with as much as like another 6-month delay, and then we're in a kind of a weird spot.
How long do you anticipate this contract to last? Is this
It's a 1-year contract.
1 year?
Yeah.
Some have been different lengths in the past.
Yeah, when we go out to bid, we ask for different terms so we can compare what they're looking like. In this particular case, it all lined up so that the pricing for 18 months and 24 months was enough higher than the 1-year contract. And on top of that, since people wanted to be able to retain some flexibility given the sensitivity around rates and everything, there's an inclination to go with the shorter terms anyway. So it all lined up around 1 year. So it would be December 1st to,
And I'll just ask one last question.
Yeah.
Being in, we've talked about a little bit about being in the program, right? And not being in this. How does that affect some of the grant process? When we go to apply for grants, I guess there's a point system, correct?
correct.
So can you shed a little bit of information
Yeah.
on that as well?
Well, for Somers is we're going to be different than the other 4 towns because you haven't been in the renewable option as a default. So for the NYSERDA point system, they're accruing points if you're in the renewable supply. That's actually sort of a good thing for you relative to your potentials in that system. Like Lewisboro just picked up $60,000 through that program because of the points they accrue, and the biggest point getter is the CCA, participation in the renewable supply, and the 50% and the 100% have different point levels. So the 50% is about 500 points, but the 100% is like another 1,500 points.
So what is the value of those points?
So it's to say they have a schedule, and if you hit certain point levels, then you get eligible for certain dollars. So
Millions?
the
No,
at
never
it
million.
also depends on the
Well-
class. So Yonkers, is pulling in $700,000 as their latest pickup. For our size towns, for 3,000 points, you're getting 50,000. Well, there's a 10,000 level too, so it's cumulative. You're getting 60,000. The next level up is 100, and that's 5,000 points. Now, nobody knows what the points are, but as I said, the CCA can be as much as 2,000 of those points. Then you get, 200 points for training your building inspector on the latest energy codes. You get 200 points for doing a fleet survey. You can get points for all kinds of things that contribute to, bringing your town into a sort of better position.
So this is sort of like field hockey rule. No one really understands the whole thing.
Certainly
So-
not me.
There are points we can get for various things, but we can't get the points.
Yeah, so
Others are
there's
getting-
infinite value
Yeah.
in that respect for
Yeah.
participants.
Okay.
So, when I think through this, it's cost and value with the spreads this wide, if I take, 3 to 4 cents and just, spread that over 5,000 households, 1,000 kilowatts per month, per year. I mean, that gets to the millions of dollars. So that essentially getting spread over the community, to support the program. So when you compare it to the points, I'm saying, well, what am I giving up? It's not even in the same.
Yeah, you
ballpark.
can't look at the points as something as
Yeah,
related to that in a sense. It's a little extra,
want to do the right thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, guess we'll put it here to a vote.
Let me just start by saying,
ahead.
I think that the spread is just too wide and it's too expensive right now. I would just recommend that we sit this out. I just can't, in good conscience, just say, 4 to 5 cents, $50 to $100 a month, 1,000 a year per household is very, very expensive. So,
And I have two
Sure.
thoughts on this. One is very similar. I mean, when it comes to green energy, I'm all for it if it's cost effective and it's safe. And I don't see it being cost effective. And I do see it promoting these battery storage farms to support the green initiative, which I do not feel are unsafe. And we've got a huge headache that we're contending with that at the moment. So I'm also not in favor.
I just want to add one other thing. I mean, we're a green community and we support that. I mean, we've supported through grants, solar panels, the school, the highway department, the library. We have charging stations here. We've essentially, changed all the lighting in all the houses and everything that we have here to get the maximum efficiency we can. This is about making choices of what's the best thing to do right now. And I'm just thinking right now, this is just too expensive. So.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I've always been in favor of it, of course, and every year I've argued in favor, and we've never taken the renewable option. The good part is that we're not losing what we had been getting, as Dan just pointed out. So we're not losing what we didn't have. But it's been a good program because as a consumer, I like it that it is fixed, and I do know how to budget that. I know what it's going to be, and I think that the program is good because if someone says, well, I don't want to pay that extra that you're paying for 50% renewable of whatever is going to be 2 or 3 cents or whatever that is a month per kilowatt hour. Good. The beauty of the program is you can opt out and it should be made as absolutely simple as possible. In fact, I would go to someone's house and help them to do it if that's because you don't know someone else's situation. And we should not judge that for it. But, and you could say, well, all right, if you're not in this, you could choose an ESCO. But it's like the fellow down the street from me who came to me one day, what can the town do for me? The answer was nothing, because he had been responding to an ESCO And they said, just give me that numbers off your NYSEG bill there. You got it, buddy? And then they signed him up for this thing with a teaser rate. He said, oh, great. It's only 3 cents. And then, of course, it went up after either 30 or 60 days, and he was ended up paying a whole lot more money. And it wasn't illegal because he had given them the permission to do it, but he had not been able to vet it. He's not a dumb guy, but he just, it takes a little while. So I think it's good that people have the option of taking through reputable vetting if they want to be in the 50% or the 100% renewable. And I guess last, as I look at the news every day, there are a few things that get me more worried, I suppose. When you're looking at the warmest year in the planet, the warmest month of the planet, the warmest day in the planet, are all this past year. And I see the effect of it around the world. It'll affect other people more than us in its Somers, with droughts in other places, shortages, famines. And everybody has a responsibility to do something. Nobody can do everything, but everybody has a responsibility to do something. You're not here to judge whether you get a hybrid car and reduce, or you start walking instead of driving, or you start turning your thermostat. Whatever it is, there's a lot of things you can do. This is one of the things that you can do that I will do. So those things I do feel passionate about, and it affects the whole world. And I understand people say, well, what difference is it going to make if Somers does it? I mean, this little tiny town, you think we're going to affect the whole world? No, but everybody does a piece. It's sort of like driving along the road. You're driving along the road and you're seeing, garbage all over the place. Like, oh my God, this road is disgusting. What is wrong with these people? Then you go, well, I just ate at McDonald's, so what's the difference? Here's another wrapper for you. Throw it out the window. At some point, for me at least, I have to be part of the solution or I'm part of the problem. None of us is perfect. I'm sure I do many things wrong on this, but it is something that keeps me up on night. So yes, I am in favor of this program.
Yeah, so here I am, I'm sitting and listening to everybody, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm a little bit torn, right? I mean, Somers has done their part on a lot of stuff to become more energy efficient out there. The EV charging stations, we just passed last year. We did a 30 by 30. 30% of our town owned,
Right.
the property,
Right.
the land in our town would be in conservation easement. So we are working on other things as that. But then again, I'm torn when it comes down to price.
Upgraded the zoning codes.
Upgraded the zoning codes as well. So we've done things on our behalf, and then to help mitigate some of those environmental issues that that Rich just laid out here. And then if we get out of the program, right, then it's going to take some time. If we wanted to opt back into the program, it's going to take 4 or 5 months to do that. So I'm a little bit torn when it comes to that, and I'm kind of lack of a better term, straddling the fence here. But when I also look at it, I know what the town has done, and I've known what we will continue to do. I just look at a lot of it as when it comes down to price, and I just know the exercise that takes place in trying to teach our residents the way about having to get out of the program, and the time and the energy and the phone calls that we get, and the time and the energy that our guys do here as well. I know I have 2 nays here and we have a yes, but on that, I'm going to be a nay on it. And I just, for the certain little bit of things, I just have a hard time when it comes down to price and in that regard, and I'll just leave it at that. So I'm gonna take a vote here. Well, we did, but we didn't make. Yeah, make the motion to enter into the Community Choice Aggregation Energy Supply Program with Sustainable Westchester.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And then you have all the votes, correct?
All in favor?
Oh.
Aye.
You said aye? Any opposed?
Yeah, opposed.
Nay?
Hey,
Nay?
Nay.
Nay. Motion didn't carry. I
Right.
think that's the first.
And recuse.
And recused. Okay, On to number-
Sometimes there, I was thinking of it today, and I understand what's happened. I understand everybody's position, and I don't mean to judge it. Sometimes, you know, there is things about money. And I was thinking, what would be a similar thing that's done in the past? I was thinking of the cannabis shops. Now, a former councilman lobbied me heavily on that, said, you're crazy. Think of the money Somers is going to be taking in on that. And if you remember, my rationale was being a teacher and having a person in my class, you know, seeing them over junior and senior year just go downhill, and was all. And I said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to encourage any kid to start smoking that. And I guess that's how I sort of feel about this. I have to make a commitment to do everything that I can. And, you know, if people all opt up, fine. But I just want to say that I was thinking of this all day today. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I would say, you know, Dan, keep close in touch. I mean, this is temporary from my perspective. We're going to sit this one out and see how we can do. And I've offered to come down there and talk about some of the things that you can put into your product queue that may be helpful for the towns. I just want to make one other point. All the other programs that you do offer, like, you know, the one that was talked about, getting the $10 rebate on your bill. We can participate in all of that. We're just precluding, we're just opting not to weigh in on this program, you know, this go around, because right now it's very expensive. So,
Thank you, everybody, for.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Dan.
thanks, Dan.
All right, let me go on to number 3 here. Let's go on to that. Let's go on to building department's recommendation to increase fees for municipal searches and building department letter request. I know they came in last month, and to refresh everybody on that, they were looking to go to, they are suggesting we increase our fees to be $50 for residential title searches and $100 for commercial title searches, and then a fee of $25 for letters requested on town letterhead. Currently, they're right now at 25 and 50. 25 for residential and 50 commercial. My take on this is I'm okay with the increase to 50 and 100 to kind of get in line, still below most of the other towns in there. But I'm not for the additional $25 on our letterhead. I think that's, I think if they get a letter, maybe if it's something, if they have a multiple request or a second request for multiple copies, maybe it's 25. But I don't think there's this a fee of 25 on for letters requested on town letterhead should be appropriate.
I agree with you.
And I'm assuming if I read this correctly, when they say flat fee, they have the flat fee for both municipal and residential. So you're right, even at going to 50 residential and 100 commercial, we're for the residential,
Average.
we're below everybody.
Below, yes, all below a lot of the
yeah.
other municipalities. And
And even for the commercial, we're equal or below. So yeah, I would agree with that.
And we went out there and so they did a search on that, municipal searches, and they looked at 5 other municipalities that are close proximity to us. And they came up with this. So again, we're still underneath we're many other towns. I just don't agree with the $25 for the letterhead.
I'm good with that.
So I'll make the motion to approve the increases to 50 and 100, but to strike out the $25 fee for letterhead requests.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay, on to number 4, community benefit agreement with Prodigy Athletics LLC. Discussion, Dave, you want to come up for a second?
This is the old sports center, right?
Also, right.
Yes, so this issue came up as part of the site plan review for the properties located on, I forget the exact address, but on 100, it's the athletic facilities on the right-hand side as you're heading south on 100. They came in for a site plan application to convert one of the buildings from, I think it was warehouse, to an athletic training facility. And as part of that review, Westchester County submitted a comment letter. And as part of those comments, they said, well, you know, have you considered including a sidewalk on Route 100? And this is kind of the same issue that came up with the Glen Ida storage facility application that you recall. And so the planning board discussed it with the applicant, and I think everybody was in agreement that it didn't make sense necessarily to put in a sidewalk along a limited stretch along 100, but the applicant was willing to provide some funding in lieu of a sidewalk. And so this agreement provides funds to the town so that they could use those monies to enhance pedestrian circulation where it makes more sense. And I think, Rich, you and I have, and we talked about it with the board,
Yep.
that makes more sense in the Hamlet area.
Without a doubt.
So this becomes, along with the monies that were provided by the Glen Ida application, as kind of what I look at as seed money to help the town further those enhancements to pedestrian circulation. So that's the genesis of the request and why the community benefit agreement is before you tonight.
And it's dollar to dollar the same. The amount that would be spent to build sidewalk and the dollars that are given to us to enhance.
More or less. The issue is this is not built to, let's say, New York State DOT standards because it's on private property. So there's a different development standard, but they are providing funds, more or less an equivalent to what they would have had to construct on their own property. So, and the issue is once you get DOT involved, and I spoke to Steve Wolfel about this, once you get DOT involved, there are all sorts of other parameters that add to the cost of constructing a sidewalk within DOT right of way. So but we thought it would be prudent that here's an opportunity where a town can take advantage of some seed money and use that to help further the goals and objectives that are outlined in your comprehensive plan with respect to complete streets and to enhance pedestrian circulation and safety.
It all helps.
All does, yes.
That's tough.
Can I
Alright,
ask you
I'm
a
gonna- go
question
ahead.
about the storage facility real quick?
Yeah, bless you.
Thank you. The wall at the storage facility was supposed to match or be comparable to the one along the housing development along Route 100.
The Boniel development, you mean?
Is that, has that been the planning board or the planners or whomever has said that is? I mean, it's not exactly the same, so I sort of expected that, but it's satisfactory to the planning board of how it has turned out.
Well, I think part of the issue is once the site development plan is finished, then we have to review the site plan against what was approved. So in other words, so when you have like an as-built survey, all right, so they built it, is it what they proved? You know, what
May not be
approved?
done. Maybe we can go back and say, hey, it's not, you want the fence on top, that sort of.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't recall the specifics of
Yeah.
whether a fence was approved on top of the stone wall or whether it was just the stone wall. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, there's that. And the stone isn't exactly, I guess I thought it would be just the same. I like one better than the other. It's, so I was just asking.
Well, I think we're of one mind here, though. I think, the expectation was they're gonna do the same thing there as they had up here, just to keep continuity
Yeah.
up in them.
Well, I think the construction of a stone wall, even if it doesn't exactly match what is already built, is still an aesthetic improvement along the streetscape.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a
Just
doubt.
wanted the,
Definitely what's better than what was there.
but that was the intention.
Um,
So you're gonna take that back to the guys in the planning board or no? Just,
About,
They gotta
Just
wait till
comment.
it's done.
Well, eventually
wait.
they're
oh
gonna
yeah,
have.
well, I'll see
Have to look at
I'll see the planning board next week and I'll raise it.
just
But
kind
you
of,
also have to wait till it's done,
Yeah,
because there might be
of
other.
Yeah, that's,
that-
yeah, and that's the other issue is that typically you wait until
Right.
construction is completed and then you go back and you review
Right.
what was approved and what was built. And if it's substantially different than what was approved, then, you've got to go back to the planning board for a site plan amendment.
Good.
I'll make the motion here to adopt the community benefits agreement with Prodigy Athletics.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Dave, I got you here, so let's just go to number 7 and number 8. Which one?
Just do 5 and 7.
Do 5 and 6?
They always say they're.
Well, I got Steve Robbins here. He's gonna talk.
All right.
Right?
Steve doesn't have to talk.
That's why I had him up there. I had him up there. Number 7, proposed zoning text amendment, definition of public utility. If you
Yeah.
give us just a quick rundown on that again.
Yes, so back in August, you declared your intent to act as lead agency. The notice was circulated to to all the other interested and involved agencies, including the Town of Somers Planning Board and Westchester County Planning. I prepared a memo and circulated it on August 21st, summarizing that the planning board reviewed not only this proposed text amendment, but also the item number 8, the outdoor dining, and that neither the planning board nor Westchester County objected to the town board acting as lead agency. Neither of the planning board or the Westchester County had any specific comments on the proposed zoning text amendments on either one. The planning board understands that that you are tentatively will be scheduling a public hearing for October. So they may, if they have in the interim, if they have comments, they may raise them at their planning board meeting next week. But so the actions that you're taking is you're declaring yourself lead agency under seeker, and then you're scheduling a formal public hearing for October 10th.
Perfect. All right, so let me go on here. Number 7 here, proposed zoning text amendment, definition of public utility. Make the motion for the town board to declare itself lead agency with secret.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moved. And then also on B, schedule public hearing for October 10th, 2024. Make the motion to schedule a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Number 8, proposed zoning text amendment, outdoor dining. A, town board declares itself lead agency under secret. Make the motion for that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And B, make the motion to schedule public hearing for October 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Dave.
Have a good evening.
Thanks for
Have a
coming.
Appreciate it.
Again. Okay.
We swing back here, number 5, pretty easy. Adopt the road program for Lake Road and Route 35 to Route 202 renewal agreement. We've had many discussions about this. Went through it a bunch of times, came up with some new rules for that. And now this is a resident here wants to be the first with the new, and it's just renewing the agreement that he already had in place with the new rules.
Good.
So I'll make the motion to adopt the road.
Yeah, just maybe for anyone who's listening, I mean, if they're interested in adopting a road, what are the,
So they're going to go to the Somers Highway Department and talk to Highway Superintendent Nick DeVito. If you are interested in adopting a road, we do have several roads that have been adopted, but we are always looking for more roads for people to take care of. There is some responsibilities about going out there and cleaning the roads, and it's and also with in conjunction with Make Somers,
Beautiful.
Make Somers Beautiful. So it's a conjunction with that. More people we can get out there helping clean up all that garbage on the roads, the better. So this road would just kind of, if you adopt the road, it would be your responsibility to do that. And it just gives yourself a sense of pride in the area and the location where you live, or anywhere else in Somers for that
so
matter.
originally this was with the Somers Litter Task Force,
Correct.
renamed the
We graduated
Make
into
Somers.
Make Somers,
Beautiful.
Make Somers, yes.
Make Somers.
And-
Beautiful.
but the
Subset
difference-
of Make America Beautiful.
right. And so now you have to talk to the highway department too. just
Correct, to make sure the road
That's
is
the
the proper
difference.
road for you,
Right.
make sure you get the proper, the tools and the vest, make sure there's and just to be taught in how the proper way about going about doing it.
Is there anything they have to sign legally?
Well, there's a
to
sign
do
that, there's a sign that we put up there as well, so they'll put up a sign saying that this road, Adopt a Road program was,
Well, I was
That-
thinking,
family.
He has to sign with his signature.
yes, there's a contract in place.
yeah, I mean, for the liability for the
Yeah,
town.
they
Correct.
probably become under the volunteers,
Correct.
Right. Right.
liability policy.
Yes. Okay, so if I am going to keep Primrose Drive I have to go down and do.
Yep, and you also get a sign on your name.
No, I just, no, please not. No, but I do have to go through this process. if I'm
You
gonna
do.
that.
You got the process. You
Okay.
got to see the highway superintendent.
Right.
So I'll make the motion to adopt the road program for Lake Road and Route 35 to Route 202.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Okay.
Moving right along here. Steve? Do you want to talk about the bipartisan?
I didn't have anything specifically prepared on that, to talk to. So there are funds that the town has applied for. This is originally federal funds targeted towards communities and public water systems that are impacted by emerging contaminants. That includes PFAS and others like 1,4-dioxane. That are bigger issues in other parts of the state than here in Somers. But we do have PFAS in the town's water supply here at the townhouse. And we were working with the town, the water department, and the relevant public health authorities to resolve that.
Yep.
And so
This is just another
grant funds.
another grant funding that we got. As we know, we got a $1.7 million grant, and then we also had a $2 million grant for the PFAS issues here in town, and we're working, and this is just another $291,302 to add to that as well for eventually when we get the project on the road here.
And this is an important issue. And as you know, there was an article in the Times I circulated
Yep.
the town board, and it's about something, and the headline, something's poisoning Americans' land. Farmers fear forever chemicals because they take apparently sludge municipalities, bless you, and it's been encouraged to use that sludge as fertilizer. But that sludge from municipalities, except for Maine, it said in the article, they don't do that, but is then they're finding PFAS in that sludge, which then of course is being eaten up by or used by the plants as fertilizer. So this is a real national.
This is the biggest, one of the biggest issues, maybe other than aging infrastructure in the water and sewer field right now, which is why there are funding programs coming through to work with to help communities to address. But yes, certainly biosolids is a major factor of that. And as an engineer, we are seeing new technologies come into the market that are starting to deal with it in different ways. But part of the challenge that we have are these chemicals are very resistant to breaking down. That's why they're good at what they do. That's why they were made. But it makes it very hard to deal with them on the back end.
Yeah, it's quite an issue.
Keeping a lot of engineers busy.
Yes.
Well, you have little kids, so I'm good.
And then the other one here, B, the proposal for engineering services to assist the town of Somers with compliance tasks related to municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4 general permit requirements from Woodard and Curran, the amount of $9,500.
So the town of Somers and all other towns and municipal entities in the state are subject to what are called MS4, that municipal separate storm sewer system permit requirements from the state DEC. That is a 5-year general permit is what it's called. There is a new general permit as of 2024. Which modifies some of the requirements of the prior 5-year general permit. The general permit has requirements, and this is basically a permit to discharge stormwater into waters of the state. So this is water that flows off of municipal properties, off of the roads, goes into storm drains, goes into waters of the state, streams, rivers, other water bodies. And the general permit sets some broad requirements for what towns need to do to comply with that general permit. There are public education requirements, there are mapping requirements, there are inspection requirements, there are record keeping requirements. And so this proposal to the town is to work with David Smith and Steve Wolfel, Highway Superintendent Nick DeVito to adjust some of the town's record keeping processes, update some of the mapping to comply with the requirements of the new general.
So to give everybody a little update too, as to why they're here, we did have, we did another quote from another company. And then after seeing that quote, I reached out to Steve and for his help and his guidance on this as well. Because he does have institutional knowledge about what's going on here in the town. And we're kind of getting up to a deadline and how we have to get these MS4 requirements out. And it would save us, when both came in, right? Woodard and Curran was well under than the other company that sent us the quotes, which I was happy to see, because you do have the institutional knowledge and you do have the experience, and you do have the working relationships, you do know the town, and not having to go back and recreate the wheel and telling another company how what's going on in the town of Somers. So when I saw that, that's why we put it on here tonight. So
I was glad to hear that.
We still we get MS4 report every year.
Yes,
Are you gonna give it now, or is it still Dave?
that will still be Dave, but we'll set up the procedure.
I'm sure he'll be
to com-
delighted to hear that he still has a responsibility.
Always happy to help Dave.
yes.
Yeah, and the immediate deadline is in October 1st, interim progress certification that needs to be filed with the state for the town to say, this is how we are meeting the requirements of the general permit.
So you prepare a report, or is it just a whole bunch of activities and events to comply?
It's a bunch of activities and events, and on October 1st, we'll file with the state to tell them all of those things that we are doing and have
Okay.
done.
Right. So I'll make the motion to acknowledge the acceptance form of the bipartisan infrastructure, and make the motion for proposal of professional services to assist the town from Woodard and Curran.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Aye.
The 2 seconds?
I
That
think
was 2 seconds. Well, I was trying to put them on one, but I said it twice.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Aye, Captain.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, Parks and Recreation, request permission to execute the KG&D Architect Professional Services proposal for architecture, engineering, planning, and surveying services for the Reese Park Plumbrook Road accessory driveway design in the amount of $81,750, along with an estimate of $40,000 for meetings and permits, agencies, and revisions, and an estimated fee of $25,000 for construction documents and related services per memo dated August 27, 2024, from Steve Rawson, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation. Again, this is to the redesign of Reese Park. The most important thing is we've been told on from our police chief, Chief Linkletter, that we need a emergency access road, and this is to get the process and the ball rolling for that. So I like to go and make the motion to request permission to execute the KG&D Architects Professional Service Contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
So this is 146,000.
Yeah, and then the second one here is request permission to allocate $85,000 from the recreation fee amount to increase Reese Park expansion budget from 65 to 150 per memo dated August 27, 2024, from Steve Rawson, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation. We don't want to go older every time that we go back and have to do a new contract, so we just might as well just increase that up, so this way we don't have to keep redoing new contracts. Make the motion to request permission to allocate the $85,000. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Highway, request permission to go to bid for 2025 materials for the Highway Department per memo dated August 27th, 2024, from Nicholas DeVito, Superintendent of Highways. I'll make the motion, request permission to go out to bid.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. There are some current vacancies, Affordable Housing Board and the Planning Board, also on the Assessment Review Board. And I'd like to make the motion to accept the resignation of Anthony Savaggi, part-time police officer, Somers Police Department, effective August 23rd, 2024. I want to thank Anthony for his service. I've known Anthony for a pretty long time. He's going to be missed. Great officer. Wish he was here a little bit longer, but something else came up that when those opportunities present themselves, you can't turn it down. So I wish him all the best. And I'd like to make the motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then authorize the appointment of Alan Sorkowitz to the Somers Assessment Board of Review to fill an unexpired 5-year term ending September 30th, 2028. Make the motion to authorize the appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Consensus agenda, if anybody has any questions on that, we'll move that to next week.
Either the questions or
Move the consensus agenda to next week, not the question. Sure. We'll hold off on the questions. Calendar of events, the 12th, public hearing. Proposed local law to amend chapter 98 entitled Fire Prevention and add 98-8 horn strobes for the commercial buildings. And then we'll also have a from the fire prevention to add 98-9 lettering of commercial buildings to the code of Somers. And then public hearing, proposed local law of chapter 158 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, 158-6 parking prohibited in designated locations. October 3rd and 10th, town board work session, a regular meeting. All those meetings start at 7 o'clock. And then on October 23rd and 24th, we have our department budget hearings, which is open to the public if you want to attend. And then November 7th and 14th, work session and regular meeting, both starting at 7 o'clock. Some announcements. Do you have any good fun facts?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. I'm going to try to be quick with this. Somers Energy Environmental Committee is looking for new members to help make our town more energy efficient and sustainable in the 21st century. You can contact the Denise Shermer, the committee secretary, at her office, dshermer@somersny.com. And they meet on the second Tuesday at 7 o'clock every month. Scam phone calls are targeting our seniors. Please be vigilant when it comes to that. If you need to notify someone, notify the county's Department of Consumer Protection right away, 914-995-2155. The first annual St. Joseph Parish Feast that's from September 6th to the 8th, 2024, and that's 95 Plumbrook Road. Rides, food, live entertainment. Westchester County Household Recycling Day, Sunday, September 8th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 1 Charles Point Avenue in Peekskill. Patriot Day Remembrance Ceremony organized by the Somers Historical Society, taking place on Wednesday, September 11th, and that's at 9:30 at Bailey Park. Westchester County's September 11th Memorial Service, that is at 3 p.m. at Kensico Dam in Valhalla. 2024 Farmers Market in North Salem, Saturday, September 14th, Back Street, Croton Falls, New York. There are going to be vendors there, live music. Celebrate Somers, Saturday, September 21st, 10 to 3, Somers Town Center. Activities, food, music as well. Somers Women's Club Annual Autumn Sale. That is on Saturday, September 22nd, 9 to 4, Reese Park. Sorry, that's Sunday the 22nd?
It is Sunday.
Sunday the 22nd. Thank you so much. Sunday the 22nd. Somers Seniors Program Casino Bus Trip. That is September 26th. Bus departs from Van Tassel at 8 a.m. and returns at 7 p.m. For more information, you can call the Somers Senior Center, 914-232-0807. Westchester Diverse Abilities Job Fair. That is taking place on Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 12:30, Westchester County Center. Westchester County Mobile Shredder is coming back to Somers Tuesday, October 22nd, 10 to 1 at Reese Park. And then again, early voting in New York State will begin prior to the November 5th general election. And the early voting period will be from Saturday, October 26th, 2024 through Sunday, November 3rd, 2024.
Wow.
Is it, Patty?
Okay. So my fun fact is the Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. People have always wondered why she has no eyebrows, but a engineer solved that mystery because Da Vinci indeed painted her eyebrows, but over the time her eyebrows were eroded due to cleaning where the point there was no longer visible today.
Good fun.
Now I don't know. What do a bulletproof vest, fire escape, windshield wipers, and a laser printer all have in common?
I don't know.
All of these items were invented by a woman.
Good, good.
Tomorrow, 6:30,
Among
Oh,
other things.
our home opener, Somers Tuskers are taking on Ramapo in week 0, a non-league conference title. And they're also dedicating the field to the GOAT, Tony DiMatteo.
I think that's
Yeah.
5:30.
5:30, I think that started.
Yeah.
5:30 is the
5:30.
the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Come out and root 'em on.
Let's go Tuskers.
Anybody else?
Yeah, speaking of football, good luck. Tonight's the opener for the NFL. May your team make it to the Super Bowl. And a hearty welcome back to school to all the students of Somers, especially the Somers High School class of 28. It's commencing this week. And special congratulations to Morgan Sabinosh, part of that class of 28.
Rich?
This day in history, on this day in 476, the Roman Empire fell.
Oh, they're gonna do fires on.
There you go.
All right, on a more sobering thought, everybody's got their school tax bills. They're due at the end of the month. You want to make sure you get them on time so you're not subject to anything else.
Bring us.
Just a note, the enhanced star has declined from 1652 to 1586. That's not a town number. That comes from New York State.
Mm.
And thirdly, I would say that I would urge everybody to apply for the Star Credit Program. You go onto the New York State tax site.
Mhm.
Essentially, you can get up to maybe $300 in credits by doing so.
In addition to that 1,500.
Essentially, what happens is that the 1586 does not get applied to your bill at the town level. You'll get a check from the state. Okay, and that'll be an additional approximately $300.
Hmm.
And that's part of that program, that they're trying to move all that work to the state level.
Our town assessor is outstanding and has explained this to many people, and she just is great at it. And I want to compliment her on her knowledge about which I do not understand, but she does.
So apply for that, and of course, Michelle McCarney is a tax receiver, and she's working very hard right now. And come and visit her.
She's right up there.
Pay taxes now.
Okay.
I'm good.
No, nothing else further, so I'll make the motion to close out tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moved. Night, everyone.